They have a quarterback, DJ Uiagalelei. Did I say it right?
Well done.
Close? All right. Is an absolute freak back there. And for Georgia fans listening, I'm not saying anything against JT. I think JT is a great quarterback and is going to be potentially a top 5, top 8 quarterback in all of college football this year.
Players.
DJ may be the best quarterback in college football this year at the end of the day.
And I would sit there and say, okay, well, he's going to have his hands full because Jordan Davis is an absolute monster on Georgia's defensive line. Nakobe Dean, who all reports out of camp have been that he is really kind of taken over that leadership role on Georgia's second level. And then one guy who I think is going to flash this weekend is Adam Anderson. I saw Adam Anderson, and he was just a very impressive-looking specimen. You're like, damn, this guy is long. Mm-hmm. He's physical. He can take over the edge, rush the passer, set the edge against the run. I would be really interested to see how Clemson opens up this game because like you just said, Aaron, if DJU is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football, maybe they won't be so reliant on the run game, even though I firmly believe week 1, you got to set the precedent, own the line of scrimmage, move the chains, control the clock, boring football, but oftentimes if you can succeed in that manner, you will win. So you're ticking Clemson with the quarterback position by position. I would be hard-pressed to disagree with you. Okay, let's go to the skill positions. We won't go running back, receiver, tight end. Let's just talk skill position as a whole. From a health standpoint, you would probably think Clemson, Justin Ross is back. He is going to be an All-American wide receiver. For Georgia's side of the ball, if you lump in the running backs, I think you could make the case that Georgia, from a skill position perspective, might be better solely based on the running backs.
Yeah, and they have Justin Ross, but they still need to figure out some of their positions on that. They got to figure out who's their guy. For the past few years, it's been ETN, Mr. Do-It-All, catching the ball in the backfield, running it. Trevor Lawrence throwing it, using his legs also as a run threat. DJ Uiagalelei, we'll see what kind of runner he is within this system. Justin Ross is an elite receiver, and that's the difference. If we want to do position by position, you give obviously receivers to Clemson because of that until Georgia can prove that they have an elite receiver. It's a good group of guys, and that's all.
Yep.
It's guys that can be efficient. Nothing in my mind that's still at the point where they can be explosive. And then you throw in the injuries, it really hurts them at the tight end and receiver spot. What you said, man, running the football, and I think that's where the difference is going to be in this game. And then what's going to give Georgia the opportunity to possibly win this game is the line of scrimmage. This is still football at the end of the day. And I know last year got to be a little 7-on-7-esque with the throwing, with the lack of tackling. I think we're going to see more physicality this year. We're going to see better defense this year, and that means we're going to need to see better play at the offensive line position, and we're going to want to see teams be able to get dirty and run the football. And Georgia has that. Georgia has a stable of backs, very, very talented backs in Zamir White, Milton, the list, James Cook, the list goes on, and Clemson has to replace ETN. And to me, I think because of the way the game is going to shift a little bit more to, I believe, more physicality this season compared to last, I would give the edge to Georgia in when we call the skill position battle, even with the injuries at receiver.
No, I agree with that. And I think Coach Monken and Coach Smart, more specifically, will make sure that strength, the running backs, will be highlighted in a big way. First and second quarters next week. There's simply no doubt about it. And I think Georgia needs to be conservative to a point, but move the chains, own the line of scrimmage, go from there. Hey, get out at halftime, regroup, and say we got 30 minutes to go out there and win this football game and set ourselves up for a special 2021. All right, let's go to the defensive side of the ball because a lot is being made about Georgia's defense right now. Coach Lanning back, defensive coordinator once again, tons of talent. Darian Kendrick, the transfer DB from Clemson, who I think will be a humongous piece of success for Georgia if they're to come out with a victory on Saturday. Tyke Smith, the transfer from West Virginia, the safety. He had the foot injury. He posted on his Instagram, Aaron, a picture of him wearing normal shoes. So read into that as you will. But when you talk about the defensive line and the linebackers in general, I think you tilt Georgia at the defensive side of the ball. And if Georgia can stifle DJ Uiagalelei, force Clemson to rely on running backs that have not been proven, really put pressure on that offensive line, you could get Clemson and Tony Elliott, the offensive coordinator over there. He's still the offensive coordinator, right? I believe so. He didn't get a head coaching job. You can force them to get out of their game plan. Yep. And I think then, the ball gets into Coach Smart and Georgia's court where they're sitting there going, love it. Kick us the ball back. We're going to continue running it. We're going to own the clock, move the line of scrimmage, see what happens late in the fourth quarter. That could be a good game plan.
Well, I think, to me, it's a coin flip when it comes to the defensive line. I think Clemson's defensive line, headed by Brian Breesy at defensive tackle, that guy is an absolute man there at 6'5", 300 pounds. He was a beast last year in his freshman year. Very similar to Jordan Davis. Obviously, Jordan Davis I don't think could fit through the door heading into the studio we're in right now at 6'6", 340.
He is massive.
Massive. But if you want to clump them as a whole, a front seven versus front seven, I would take Georgia's front seven against anyone else in the country.
Yeah. That's a powerful statement, and it's probably true at this point.
I think Georgia's front seven with Jordan, Walker, Quay, Nakobe Dean, Nolan Smith, I think those guys can go head-to-head with any front seven in all of college football. And that, to me, we talk about, you were talking to your buddy about the fact that Georgia could get blown out this weekend. If, and we're going to find out this weekend, if 2021 is different than 2020 and everything I've been saying about physicality, then Georgia should be in every single game this year because of that front seven.
Yeah. That's a great point. When you look at, let's just look at the NFL. Any really good team, like a Super Bowl winning team, look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year. Look who they had on their front seven. Dominican Sue, Gerald
Well, because
McCoy,
you know why?
Jason Pierre-Paul.
You know why it helps?
Because you can get after the quarterback without having to blitz.
And you can play too deep.
Yes. And just force them.
Play cover two and sit back and say, Justin Ross, we're going to double you. Yeah. You're going to play outside. We're going to have a corner that's going to hit you at the line of scrimmage, and we're going to have the safety over top. If you don't have to put a safety in the box and allow an offense to create those one-on-one matchups on the outside, it's so frustrating for a quarterback.
Yeah.
I remember we played UCF my freshman year, and they played cover two the entire game, and we couldn't run the football. And
was this the Liberty Bowl?
The Liberty Bowl. And
what a great game.
And we might have had too much fun before the Liberty Bowl, first off. But they played cover two the entire damn game, and I'm like,
can't do anything.
I'm like, Bubba, there's nothing. Can we run the football? Because there's nowhere to throw it. If you can't force a safety into the box, it's the same thing that happened to Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Tampa just sat there, stopped the run, and played cover two, and those guys, those Tyreek and Travis, just could not get any kind of one-on-one matchups to exploit the defense. And that is what Georgia can do this year, and that's how Georgia can slow down this offense. Say, hey, we know you don't have Travis Etienne. We know there's a question at the running back position. We're not super concerned about inserting a safety to slow down the run game. We're just going to line up 4-3, 3-4, whatever it is, two deep, and say, hey, we're going to slow down DJ and Justin Ross.
Yep.
And if you do that and limit Justin Ross, ball game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you're totally
But that front seven is the reason why they have a chance.
And you know what's crazy about that front seven specifically now? So much different from like in 2010 when we played UCF in the Liberty Bowl is the depth that Georgia has. Now when you can rotate those defensive linemen and even the linebackers, and it's proven 4 and 5 stars that are coming in with fresh legs, that's how you dominate a football game. That is how late in the third quarter, early in the fourth quarter, you stretch that lead out, give yourself the ability to continue to run the ball and have a lot of fun as a team and win those big games. So I think we're both saying Georgia on the defense side of the ball, that's an advantage to the Dogs.
Front seven.
Yeah,
I give the back end to Clemson.
Back end to Clemson, just again, based off injuries for Georgia.
The injuries are not, without the injuries, maybe coin flip. With the injuries, definitely Clemson, though.
Well, I can tell you one thing with my expertise is that Georgia has the advantage when it comes to special teams. There's absolutely no doubt about it. When you're talking kicking the football, Jake Camarda, preseason All-American, absolute stud. His leg is way stronger than mine ever was. I'm pretty jealous at how far he can kick the ball. And Jack Podlesny, I'll be really interested to see how Jack performs. He had an amazing kick to send Georgia off with a Peach Bowl victory. Obviously, a great offseason for him. His offseason would have been a hell of a lot different if that kick didn't go in. I mean, I'm not going to fault him for that. He deserved it. He earned it. Now it's time to really step up, right, Aaron, and say, hey, I'm going to build off that big kick. But Georgia, heading in from a kicking perspective, certainly has the advantage. And I think from a return and coverage perspective as well, look, they put their guys out there. I would expect Kyrus Jackson to be back there again, returning some kickoffs, punts, You're going to have some really explosive athletic guys. That's not to say Clemson won't either, but I think Georgia, from a kicking and coverage standpoint, should have the advantage here, and that's going to be big. Make DJU and that Clemson offense go 80-plus as often as you can. Don't do anything stupid like you saw Nebraska do this past weekend in the kicking game, and this is going to be a dogfight. I want to say this, and I will give the advantage to Georgia.
What's the weather?
You know,
I know you were big on weather last week, saying you can get a little sloppy.
Well, I saw that, but I think the track of the hurricane went more inland than expected, and I think it will essentially be out of the way by the time this weekend comes. I know us
Saturday,
here in Atlanta,
88 degrees, 2% chance of rain in Charlotte. So
let's go. Would have
been a huge advantage for Georgia if it was raining.
Look, we're going to dive into this thing in a big way on Thursday's episode. I'm looking at ESPN.com's matchup predictor. They give Clemson a 69% chance of winning based on ESPN's Football Power Index. I would probably disagree with that.
Yeah.
But this is going to be an awesome game.
As you're wearing your Georgia shirt.
Yeah, I got to go golf. I'm heading out to golf. 680 The Fans Tailgate Kickoff Classic. Nice. I bet you it's going to be 150 degrees out there today, but I am... I'm
better than mine. Our game in San Jose was 100 at kickoff.
Oh, I saw the field temperature.
No, that was Fresno. Fresno was 117.
Jeez.
And that's because they played, at, 2 o'clock that time, West Coast time?
Yeah.
If we were playing at 2 o'clock, it probably would have been closer to 105 field temp. I mean, I was in the booth sweating my butt off. I'm like, right before we went on camera, I'm like dabbing myself like, oh my God, I'm dying right now.
That's amazing. Yeah, we're going to have fun. College football is back. I am excited for this Georgia-Clemson game.
I'm excited for this weekend.
Yeah,
Holy
I know.
Crap.
Official prediction will come on Thursday's show, but be sure to check us out. Our YouTube channel is up right now. I'm looking at our camera right now. You can go check us out, puntandpass.com. YouTube's up there. At Punt and Pass on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Drew Butler. Aaron is at Aaron Murray 11. Shout out to my guy Dan Matthews in the booth. You can find us on the Podcast Park, anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Aaron, you fired up for this week, man?
It's here. It's finally here. And NFL preseason's over with. We can push that away.
Yes.
That was fun to watch.
Yes.
But I'm just excited about all the big-time matchups starting on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.